Hare Hare. So what is the password for Wi-Fi here? And which connection should I go with? Maybe on my laptop, sorry, phone, but not here. I don't know how to read that here though, on this machine. So which one is it? 1420 228 SC2_4 or Radha Nilmadhav?
Yeah.
VCC guest?
Either one of it should be either one of those, but
Let me try VCC guest. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Okay, what is the password now?
the number part of
Let's try a few, maybe, based on your memory.
I think it's that one.
Okay. Let's give it a try. If not, we'll try Radha Nilamada. It shouldn't take this long. Yeah, so let's try something else. Let's try maybe Radha Nilamada, and then that would be. Oh, please come down. Huh? See, you have this 1422 28th Avenue. Maybe Radha Nilamada. You didn't start the recording, right? Oh. Okay, it worked. So today we are going to talk about the Vedanta, its morphology and ontology by His Divine Grace Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Goswami Maharaj. Namah Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashatya Desatarine Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Srila Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada. So today we are going to talk about a topic called the Vedanta, its morphology and ontology. It's a very sophisticated title. Essentially, what is the position of Vedanta? That is what is being discussed today. So, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur is the spiritual master of Srila Prabhupada, and he says, the methods of thinking of different people of different countries are not the same. So, we cannot expect identical results in philosophy. Happiness and virtue have been selected as the essence of philosophical speculation by both the Hellenic and Hebraic schools, whereas in China they were meant for preservation of loyal society and local constitutional government. The mystic philosophy of medieval Europe, in its different varieties, has invited apathetic reflection in judgment of considerate persons. The animistic conception of Persia, as well as impersonal idea, have brought out criticisms from Indian philosophers. The savage conception of philosophy as well had no favor with the critical and ethical arguments. So, the point here being made is philosophy across the world is different. In Greece, it is different, in Persia, it is different, in China, it is different. So, the methods of thinking of the people of different countries are different when it comes to philosophy. For a long time, Indian philosophy has been mentioned in 6 different phases bearing dissimilar methods of exposition. So, what are the 6 methods? Anybody know? Sankhya, Vaisheshika, right? Patanjali Yoga, and then finally Vedanta. Vedanta means end of all the Vedic knowledge. So, these 6 Indian methods of philosophy are more than anything else in the world. But most people have forgotten what they are, unfortunately, and then people are doing their own philosophy. They are creating new ones, but it's not necessary. All this, like Patanjali Yoga, is one type of philosophy. Vaisheshika is atomic theory. Sankhya, which is the enumeration, numerical enumeration of the world activities. For example, we have Panchamahabhutas, right? Earth, water, fire, air, ether. Then we have mind, intelligence, false ego. Then we have our senses such as sight, hearing, taste, smell, touch, right? Then we have organs like walking, hands, legs, various other organs. So if you put all these together, it comes to 23. The 24th is the soul, which is inside the body. And the 25th, what is the 25th one? It's Paramatma, the Lord. So Sankhya outlines based on numerical analysis, right? How many different elements are there? How do we count all these elements together like that? So these philosophies have been there in the Indian system for a very, very long time, but have been forgotten. So that is what is this institution is trying to do, revive the knowledge of these philosophies. The five old schools of philosophies of India do not vouchsafe to bear the same character with the Vedanta philosophy. So, Vedanta, the last one, is superior to these first five. The subjects dealt with in that particular philosophy are not confined to any part of material space, any definitive span of time, or any object of sensuous perception. Means anything that you can perceive from your senses is the topic of the first five philosophies. Vedanta is the different topic, which is not matter. It is not the material space. The activities of a being are measured in time. The playground of being, either linear, superficial, or cubical, is accommodated in space, and limited subjectivity or fleshy tabernacle entity is confined to the phenomena. The Vedantic scheme is quite different from such limited structural monuments, though some people attempted to bring Vedanta within the prison bars of their senses. So, Vedanta cannot be understood through sensual perception, means our senses such as taste, smell, they cannot understand Vedanta. It is beyond. The Vedanta deals with ordinary language, quite dovetailing the views of ordinary intelligentsia to gradually heave them up to a supersensuous region where senses cannot work. So, there is a senses perception, there is a supersensual, which is higher than the senses. Still, the transcendental topics are imparted slowly through linguistic and rationalistic attainments to differentiate the plane of transcendence and the undesirable transformable plane of enjoyments. As it is helping the journey of understanding, we need not stick to a stagnant view in order to gratify our senses at the cost of rationality and harmonious language. So, as you can see, this English is very high because Srila Prabhupada's guru was top notch in the British world. And even the British and the Americans struggle with his English because it's like at a very hi-fi level. When the absolute becomes the goal of a sentient being, what does that mean? Absolute means param satyam. Param means the ultimate, right? When the absolute become goals of the sentient being, what is sentient being? We are sentient beings because we work through platform of senses. Such sentiism has a character other than the natural phenomenal restrictions. But when it tends to limit activities to finite things of the phenomena, we find a temper of lording it over. So, as a living entity, as a soul, we want to lord over everything. You see a car, you want it. You see a house, you want it. In this way, we want everything, right? Whatever you see. Like especially you'll see this in corporations. The vice president says, oh, my budget is $1 billion. So he wants to kind of lord it over his entire department, right? So this is what is happening. The sentient being has this tendency of lording it over finite things, which have mundane relativity. Means it is not spiritual relativity, but it is mundane, which is material essentially. All activities of a spirit towards the direction of transcendental absolute are to come under devotion or bhakti. So anything to do with matter is a subject of philosophy, biology, chemistry, physics. But anything that is beyond matter can only be had through bhakti. So Srila Prabhupada translates bhakti. I mean, we have different meanings of bhakti, right? Everybody thinks they are a big bhakt. Bhakti means art of love, he says. How to love God, and there is an art to loving God. Art of loving God. So right now our heart is like a desert. We don't have any love for God. Our love for God has translated or degenerated into lust for matter, right? If you have some small thing, for example, this laptop bag, somebody walks in and starts walking away with my laptop, I'll say, give me my bag back, right? I'm so attached. It only costs like $40 or $50, but we are so attached to finite material things. And the whole idea of bhakti is to transform that lust for material things back into love for God. That's all it is. So soul, when it is in the spiritual world, it had love for God. But some or the other, we left that place and we came here. Now that has translated into love for material things. So that has to be rectified. That's all it is. It is not a, you know, very complex thing really. When how do we obtain mukti? Through bhakti. And what is bhakti? It is just regenerating our love, right? So is love a verb or a noun? Huh? Verb, yeah. See, for example, Prabhu comes home empty handed and says, "Honey, I love you." Then you'll ask, "Okay, where are the vegetables? Where are the items?" Right? To cook something, you need something. So, love means you have to do something for the beloved. It is not just empty words. So, that's why people they come to the temple, they bow down before the Lord. So, as you see, some people are bringing rice bags, some people are bringing vegetables and fruits. Some people are doing donations in the hundi. That is to show their love. If you don't do an activity, it is just a dry word. There is no meaning to it, right? And this tradition is actually universal across all religions, right? I mean, there is that tendency to serve the superior. Normally, we serve our boss at office. Why? Because end of the month we get a paycheck. Here, we are little reluctant to serve God because we don't see that paycheck visible. But actually, there is a paycheck. That paycheck is not coming end of the month, but end of our life. At the point of death, that paycheck is visible. How? When somebody who has done pious activities throughout their life, at the point of death, they may go to Swarga, heaven, or they may go to Vaikunta, like complete liberation. And a person who has not done enough pious activities may end up in hellish planets or take birth again in this material world. So instead of being born in India, next life they may be born in Somalia or some other country, essentially. Unlike phenomena where everything is liable to transformation during the course of time, the absolute does not undergo any change. Absolute here means the Supreme Lord, Krishna. Thank you. So that's why he is called Param Satyam. Param Satyam means Satyam Param Dhimahi. The very first verse of Srimad Bhagavatam, in the end it says Satyam Param Dhimahi. So he is Param Satyam, means he is the ultimate truth, absolute truth. We are also truth, but we are relative, right? So someday we are here, someday we are there, we are doing different things. So the limited finite entity, the Jivatma, is different than the spiritual entity, Paramatma. That is the theme that the theme of Vedanta actually deprives the human frame and subtle body of the bliss, which is wrongly incorporated with unalloyed absolute infinitesimals. Infinitesimal means Anu Atma. And God is Vibhu Atma, Paramatma, like that. So we are all infinitesimal, but we are all parts of God, separated parts of God. We also have the same characteristics as God. We have the same behavior, we have the same desire, but we cannot do much about it, whereas He can do a lot about it. The stuff of the absolute is not liable to any change. No factor of time would have any cogent potency to mutilate it. No space is reserved for it like material entities. The absolute, when analyzed, will go to show a division between parts and the whole. So he is the whole, we are the parts. We are Anu Atma, he is Vibhu Atma. So that's why we feel like we have so much power, but in reality we are very limited power to do anything, right? We may go to the office, small cube, and say, yes, this is my cube, right? We cannot say, oh, this entire planet is mine. Can we say that? No, because we are very infinitesimal, whereas he is infinite. So the infinite can accommodate a lot of infinitesimals, not the other way around. That's why we can never become God, because we have infinitesimal, very, very small characteristic. By the word absolute infinitesimal, I mean the individuation of the identical quality and not the quantity. The stuff of the absolute is not liable to any change. No factor of time would have any cogent potency to mutilate it. The knowledge of the Vedantic field need not be restricted to mere elementary formula, excluding the smartha elucidation and to treatises of such workers as have deviated from the strict path of Shruti. Shruti is where we hear. This is very advanced English. This is Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. So, by Shruti, we can understand how we can move forward. The untenable sectional views need not be included under the category of Vedanta. The different inculcations offered by explanations of creative actors and destructive exploiters should not be confused with the Satvata Purana or the Pancharatras. So, the different inculcations offered by explanations should not be confused with Satvata Purana. So, Puranas and Pancharatras are important. Essentially, that's what it means. Besides the Smarta development of Vedanta, we have to deal with various treatises written by Vedanta scholars to enlighten us on the very points in our practical life. Vedanta includes fourfold aspects: Shruti Prastan, Nyaya Prastan, Smriti Prastan, and Prakarana Prastan. I never knew about this before. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur has given so much detail here. Shruti Prastan, Nyaya Prastan, Smriti Prastan, and Prakarana Prastan. The first two series are accepted by impersonalists like Mayavadis and Brahmavadis, and very few quotations from books known as Smriti, whereas they do not admit the whole arena of Smriti for their Vedantic advancement. So, Mayavadis and Brahmavadis only use Shruti Prastan and Nyaya Prastan, whereas devotees use Smriti Prastan and Prakarana Prastan. The Upanishads are scriptures accepted as Vedas or Shrutis. They are not only the Vedas but considered as the acme of Vedic literature. Means acme means highest point. The rational version of Upanishads are philosophical in comparison with the adorative songs of Samhitas towards a pantheon of Vedic gods. Pantheon means like a group of Vedic gods. Although the various Upanishadic mantras have apparently conflicting features, they are reconciled by aphorisms of Sri Vyasa in his Uttaramimamsa philosophy under different systematical logical categories known as Nyayas or Adhikaranas. So, Shruti, to do the explanation of Shruti, we need to go to Nyaya Prastan. This is all advanced stuff. But of course, as devotees, we just chant Hare Krishna because we cannot do all these things. Each theme of an Adhikaran has been fully dealt with by Panchanga or fivefold positions of logical system to meet all opposing controversies. Panchanga or fivefold positions. So, we have to see what these fivefold positions are. The aphorisms have met with all polemical views of different philosophical systems, which prove to go against truth of the Shrutis. And again, the aphorisms are supported by Upanishad mantras, followed by Smritis and reasons offered in favor of citatory passages, Bhashyas. So, that is why we do various Bhashyas. The basic knowledge is not possible, so we do like Sri Bhashya comes from Sri Rangam. There are other Bhashyas too. So, Bhashyas give us the knowledge which we cannot directly understand through Smriti. Sorry, we cannot understand through Shruti. We are still talking about what Mayavadis are attracted to, Shruti and Nyaya Prastan. So, the leaders of interpretations have given us the first-hand information regarding classified subjects, Nyayas or Adhikaranas, briefly in these sutras. Among these interpreters, we find contending views, means conflicting views or opposite views, of wranglers in offering their explanation. Some of them differed with others in grouping together mantras under the same heading of a particular subject, and sometimes their views were found palpably varying with others. So, different groups, one group will say this is what Shruti is saying, other group will say this is what it's saying, and there are different schools of thought. That is how we have these different schools in the Vedic system, Vedanta system, 6 schools. 6 schools in Vedic system, the last one is the Vedanta. The early Bodhayana school, Tanka, Dravida, Baruchi, Odolomi, Yamunacharya and others have left for Ramanuja their opinions which are thoroughly different from observations of Sri Acharya, Sri Shankar. So, the point here they are making is how Ramanujacharya differs from Shankaracharya. Shankaracharya is the Mayavadi saint and Ramanujacharya is the Vaishnava saint. Shankaracharya and Srikanta are more or less analogous to each other, though Srikanta has admitted the personality of Brahman in Shiva for some time, apart from henotheistic views, unlike Ramanuja, whose conception of personality of Brahman is Vishnu nomenclature. So, Ramanujacharya says Brahman is Vishnu. Shankaracharya says Brahman is Shiva. So, there is a little bit of conflict there. The Srikanta cult merged in the system of Shankar together with the following follower, Appaya Dikshit, whose conversion to Shankara view has destroyed more or less his former writings of Shivarka, Manidipika, and Nyaya Raksha Mani. So these are all advanced textbooks that were written by Srikanta. But then Srikanta, then what does it do? He goes in direction of Shankaracharya. According to Shankara, his adoption of illusory theory of Maya has explained the unreal position of jiva or individual soul in the material world, whereas the theory of devotion or bhakti has been accepted by theists as the sole medium of reaching the eternal destination. Shankara's targeted salvation, nirvana. So, bhakti is one path and the other one is nirvana path by Shankaracharya. And that can be had through inflated unalloyed knowledge of an individual free from reference of eternal existence and beatitude by annihilating himself. So that is why you see that the Mayavadis, they say that I am finished, right? So there is nothing after death. I have become God or I have become nothing. If you become nothing, that is called Shunyavad. If you become God, that is Mayavad. Madhava, now Madhavacharya. Madhava's eternal associative duality always maintains eternal devotional aptitude, which is the common basis of all four inculcators of positive truth. Maya or delusive energy is to be abandoned or overpowered by devotion, which will give eternal relief to the conditioned soul. So, Maya is trying to overpower us, and this bhakti, devotional path, is rescuing us, the conditioned individual soul. Individual spirit is never to indulge itself by the imaginary inflation for becoming the universal non-designative spirit. So the individual spirit, like us, we cannot become the universal spirit, which is Paramatma. Impossible. That is what is being said. Individuals are eternally atomic, isolated, numberless entities. Means there is a large number of entities. And we are atomic, Anu Atma. They have eternal cognitional, means the ability to think, volitional, the ability to make a choice, and emotional attributions in them. They are prone to be forgetful in the direction of service towards their eternal master. So, the Jivatma is prone to forget our eternal master, the fountainhead. Godhead, fountainhead, same concept. In salvation, they are never to lose their eternal special individuality, and this temporary captive individuation in the present sheath should never be considered as permanently neglecting the eternal ontological transcendental form. So, there is a lot of complex words here. Essentially, what it means is in salvation, after we do mukti, we don't lose our individuality. And this individuation that we currently have should never be considered as permanently neglecting the Supreme Lord. This is only a temporary phenomenon. The individual souls and matter are not temporary production, but they are emanated from Brahman, and both of them are reciprocated to each other. Means the souls and matter interact. The personal body of Brahman, known as Vishnu, is the very center of all energies and attributes. So Brahman is also known as Vishnu or Krishna, is the center of all energies and attributes, be they temporary or eternal. Both temporary energies are also Vishnu, eternal energies are also Vishnu. He is all potent in his service. He is all potent, and his service is the eternal function of the individual spirit. So that is what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, Jivera Swarupa Hoy, Nityara Krishnadas. So our goal is only service, nothing else, according to the scriptures. The worldly pretensions of Maya are traced in the unusual desire of elevationists and salvationists. So, these elevationists, Brahmavadis and salvationists, what they do? They are looking at the worldly pretensions of Maya. So, Maya has all these different forms. The devotees have no such pretensions like the fictitious believer of enjoyment or salvationists like Shankaracharya. Madhava's interpretation of the efficient cause is not challenged by his opponents. Efficient cause is Krishna himself, right? But his conception of material cause of the world has been misunderstood by Mayavadins to be different from the unique situation of Brahman. So his point is that Mayavadis don't understand who Brahman is. They just say Brahma Satyam, Jagan Mithya, which is maybe true in a small, narrow sense, but not really true. The material cause, so we have the efficient cause, that is Krishna, but then there is the material cause. The phase of the material cause is not isolated from Brahman, but the yieldings of material cause should in no case be confused or identical with Brahman. So, material cause is different than spiritual cause, efficient cause. The material cause has produced this phenomenon to befool, means it's trying to fool us. Conditioned jivas or individual captive spirits who have by their indolent mood behaved as enjoyers, but the real cause should be traced to have emanated from him through one of his conflicting potencies for that purpose which is misunderstood by hasty idealistic outward reading. So externally it appears like it is good, but real cause is emanating from the Lord and not through one of his other potencies. So it is coming directly from the Lord, the real cause. So the secondary cause or the material cause should not be confused with the original personality. So this is all very, very sophisticated way Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur talks about. The ontological view will surely tell us that eternal Brahman is the all-pervading supreme cause of all manifestative external, eternal and transforming domains. All the Vedantic literature such as Shruti, Nyaya, Smriti and Prakarana tend to delineate the personality of the unique owner of all eternal manifestation. So the unique owner is Sri Krishna. Attributions and spiritual, eternal, innumerable transcendental qualities and unending and unrestricted pastimes. Unending and unrestricted pastimes. Leelas are unrestricted. Owing to his supersensuous situation, frivolous attempts should not be directed against him by our anti-theistic exploitations. So we are working on a sensual platform. We should not try to question the Lord based on our sensual understanding, because we won't succeed. He, means Krishna, should be approached through Shruti or pure oral reception of transcendental sounds, which should not be confused with mundane sounds, which are temporary and meant for gratification of our senses. Mundane sounds means anything to do with matter, about cricket or video games or any topic which is devoid of Krishna. The mundane sounds are to submit to our inspectorial staff of senses, whereas the cogent transcendental sounds are enriched with super delegated powers of divinity. So the transcendental sounds like the Hare Krishna mantra is actually delegated by the Lord, and it has got delegated powers of divinity. And what does this power do? It regulates our previous conviction. We normally think we are enjoying people. So this regulates that enjoying tendency because of the delegated powers of divinity through the Hare Krishna mantra. The mind and all wrong activities of senses are to be regulated by means of devotional temperament to proceed to region of the eternal transcendental beauty. Eternal transcendental beauty is Sachidananda Rasovai Saha. He is the fountainhead of rasa, that is transcendental. The approaching activity along with the path of devotion will empower all individual captivated entities to throw off the thraldom of this enjoying region. So, this is called the enjoying region, the material world. We need to get out of this enjoying region. Over this, we can trace as well as the development of the Vedantic aspects in the history and in many ritualistic works known as Satvata Pancharatra. Normally, we know Narada Pancharatra. So, here Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur talks about Satvata Pancharatra, all of which went on to show an advanced thought of the practical Vedanta. Moreover, the commentators on Puranas and the Pancharatras also give us faculty to drink deep into the conception of transcendental truth, which will form an enterprise of Vedantic extension. Some of the Prakarana books have significance of tending towards the impersonal goal. So even in Prakarana, some of them actually, the fourth one, right? So we talked about Shruti, Nyaya, Smriti and Prakarana. So even Prakarana has this tendency of an impersonal goal. So we have to be careful. The analytical development has given us a long list of arguments refuting pure impersonalness, where we find a foliage of rasa apart from its indolent. Indolent means lazy aspects. There is no doubt a valuable addition to the Vedanta library. Vigilant writers will come up in the field of Vedanta in its dualistic phase, vehemently means strongly protesting the pent up ideas of lazy pantheists. Pantheism means worshipping multiple deities. So, Saraswati Thakur talks them lazy pantheists. And what do these lazy pantheists do? They are doing systematic propaganda against the absolute. This process may appear to us as an inductive process leading to pantheistic vision in the long run, shaping convergingly to one point. Many schools of philosophy in their progress tend to convert themselves to one thought where specification is utterly denied. In other words, they speak of many things which will be proselytized to one thing, which is monism. Monism means, what is monism? What Shankaracharya promoted, that we are at the same level as God, which is incorrect. Okay, so Aarti is going on. Let's sing. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Radha Krishna Pranamora, Yugala Kishora, Radha Krishna Pranamora, Yugala Kishora, Jivane Marane Rati, Har Nahi Mora, Vane Marane Gati, Har Nahi Mora, Kalindira Kule Keli, Kadambe Ravana, कलिंदीरकुले केली कदंबे रवाना रत्न बेदीरा ऊपर बोसाबो दुजाना रत्न बेदीरा ऊपर बोसाबो दुजाना श्यामा गौरी अंगे दीबो चंदने रगंध श्यामा गौरी अंगे दीबो चंदने रगंध चामरा दुलाबो कबे तेरी मुख चंद्र चामरा दुलाबो कबे तेरी मुख चंद्रम काठिया मला तिरमाला दिवे दोन हार गाले काठिया मला तिरमाला दिवो दो हार गाले आधर तुलिया दिवो कर्पूरा तंबूले अधरा तुलिया दिवो कर्पूरा तंबूले ललिता विशाखा आदि जटशकी बृंद ललिता विशाखा आदि वृंद अज्ञाया कोरीबो सेवा चरणारविंद अज्ञाया कोरीबो सेवा चरणारविंद श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु दशरानुदास श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु दशरानुदास सेवा अभिलाष कोरे नरोत्तम दास सेवा अभिलाष कोरे नरोत्तम दास राधा कृष्ण प्राण मोर युगल किशोर राधा कृष्ण प्राण मोर युगल किशोर हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय आचार्य परंपरा की जय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल।